Good evening, brothers and sisters. As promised, here we will start with this new topic. The topic is Bible alone doctrine contradicts the Bible. First, I would like to read the verses which I tried to compile. Then, later on, I will discuss each one by one. But I will read first the one that I posted earlier, and then I will try to elaborate it further. So the verses that I compiled is number 1, Ecclesiastes chapter 4 verse 9 to 12, which reads, "Two are better than one because they have a good return for their labor. For if either of them falls, the one will lift up his companion. But woe to the one who falls when there is not another to lift him up. Furthermore, if two lie down together, they keep warm. But how can one be warm alone? If one can overpower him who is alone, who can resist him? A cord of 3 strands is not quickly turned apart." Number 2, First Book of Corinthians chapter 11 verses 1 and 2. "Be imitators of me, just as I also am of Christ. Now I praise you because you remember me in everything and hold firmly to the traditions, just as I handed them down to you." Number 3, 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 verse 15. "So then, brothers and sisters, stand firm and hold on to the traditions which you were taught, whether by word of mouth or by letter from us." Number 4, Matthew chapter 16 verse 18 to 19. "And I say to you that you are Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades will not overpower it. I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatever you bind on earth shall have been bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth shall have been loosed in heaven." Number 5, Hebrews chapter 13 verse 17. "Obey your leaders and submit to them, for they keep watch over your souls as those who will give an account, so that they may do this with joy, not groaning, for this would be unhelpful for you." Then number 6, John chapter 21 verses 24 and 25. "This is the disciple who testifies to these things and who wrote them down. We know that his testimony is true. Jesus did many other things as well. If every one of them were written down, I suppose that even the whole world would not have room for the books that would be written." So these are the compilation of verses that I have gathered, and then I will discuss it one by one. For now, I will discuss the first one, Ecclesiastes chapter 4 verse 9 and 12. I will read it again. "Two are better than one because they have a good return for their labor. For if either of them falls, the one will lift up his companion. But woe to the one who falls when there is not another to lift him up. Furthermore, if two lie down together, they keep warm. But how can one be warm alone? And if one can overpower him who is alone, two can resist him. a cord of 3 strands is not quickly torn apart. So, what I posted earlier is this one. Most born-again denominations claims that if it is not written in the Bible, then it's nothing. Hence, they follow the doctrine of sola scriptura, or Bible alone, which was actually originated by the Reformists during the 16th century under the leadership of Luther and Zwingli. Now, if it's not written, it's not true. Then, if we try to read and reread the Bible, the term sola scriptura or Bible alone, or any equivalent term, we can't find it. Therefore, we should and must not believe in it. Ecclesiastes chapter 4, 9 to 12 clearly explains that to be alone is quite dangerous. Two are better than one, as it says. It further teaches that a cord of 3 strands is not quickly torn apart. The Catholic Church teaches that the Bible is just one of the pillars of the teaching authority. It includes the following: sacred scripture, which is the Bible; sacred tradition, which the apostles have given to us; and the living magisterium, the Pope and the cardinals. It is therefore in accordance with the above scripture. So now I will try to expound this. Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 9 to 12. Again, I will read it. Two are better than one because they have a good return for their labor. For if either of them falls, the one will lift up his companion. But woe to the one who falls when there is not another to lift him up. Furthermore, if two lie down together, they keep warm. But how can one be warm alone? If one is overpower him who is alone, two can resist him. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly torn apart. Now, most born-again denominations claims that if it is not written in the Bible, then we should not believe it. We will not argue with that, of course. We too believe that everything written in the Bible is true. But of course, there are truths that was not recorded in scriptures. Well, but I will elaborate this in another episode in the coming days. No? For now, we will focus on Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 9 to 12. Sola scriptura, or Bible alone doctrine, was actually originated by the reformist Martin Luther of Germany and Ulrich Zwingli of Switzerland during the 16th century. Again, I will not elaborate on the sola scriptura teachings of the reformist, but I would like to try to look at the born-again version which they copied from the reformist. For born-again sect, if it's not written, it can't be found, or if it can't be found in the Bible, then it's not true. Now, this is the basis of their claim that the Catholic Church is not the true church because the name or the title Roman Catholic Church is nowhere to be found in the Bible. Well, I know one Bible version that we can clearly read the text, one Holy Catholic Apostolic Church, and it is very rare. In fact, I tried to search it in Google. I only found one, and it's not complete. So what I would recommend is if you could visit some Bible stores, then try to buy it. It is the confraternity version. Confraternity version. And confraternity version, there are also a lot of editions. And I'm not sure if all editions, the term One Holy Catholic Apostolic Church is present. But I know for sure that in the footnotes of Leviticus, I think it was Leviticus chapter 17 verse 3. It is clearly written. So again, if it is not written, it is not worthy of consideration. That is the sola scriptura of the born-again Christians. If we use this logical argument, we could say that each founder of their sect is not worthy to be considered. Why? Because for sure, the names of the founders of these churches could not be found in the sacred scriptures. Using this kind of argument is very, very dangerous. So much in this world could not be true, for there are a lot of things which we could feel, we could touch, we could smell, we could hear, we could taste, yet not written in the Bible. Diba? So, many things that exist which is not written in the Bible, if we use the sola scriptura teaching, then it is not true. I love to eat ice cream, even though I'm a diabetic person. And, of course, we know that ice cream exists. But, if we will try to look at the Bible, even what versions we will use, we will never find the word ice cream. Then, is it because that we cannot read that term ice cream, then we will deny its existence? We will not eat ice cream because it's not written in the Bible. Anyway, going back, I suppose our born-again brothers knows that the Catholic Church existed almost 2,000 years already. And in fact, next year, we will celebrate the 500th year of our Christianity here in the Philippines. They know for sure that it was the Spaniards who bring Christianity here to us. But despite this knowledge, they refuse to acknowledge, because if they do, then they would encounter a big problem in justifying their sola scriptura claim. And it would be hard for them to deceive. I would like to emphasize this, to deceive and convince nominal Catholics. But because it's not in the Bible, they will not consider it. During arguments or even debates, they always look for specific verses that justify their claims. But sad to say, the Bible itself does not say or teach sola scriptura. If we try to read and reread the Bible, the term sola scriptura or Bible alone or any equivalent term, we can't find it. Going back to the term deceive, somehow, the term Bible or sola, scriptura, maybe we could read this in some versions. Well, not all versions we can read this. But the term Bible alone or sola scriptura, I assure you, we cannot read that in the Bible. Now, if we follow their argument, then we should not and must not believe it. We should not believe that Bible alone doctrine because it's not written in the Bible itself. It is wrong to believe sola scriptura doctrine because logically it is fallacious. If it does not exist, then we should not believe it. Now, being alone is not a good idea, as Ecclesiastes chapter 4 verses 9 to 12 clearly explains that to be alone is quite dangerous. Two are better than one, as it says. It further teaches that a cord of 3 strands is not quickly torn apart. The Catholic Church teaches that the Bible is just one of the pillars of the teaching authority. It includes the following: the sacred scripture, which is the Bible, the sacred tradition, which was handed down by the apostles, and the living magisterium, which is the Holy See. The teaching authority of the Catholic Church is therefore in accordance with the scripture which we have just read. Ecclesiastes chapter 4 verses 9 to 12. So, our teaching, the teaching of the Catholic Church, is more biblical than sola scriptura. Thank you, brothers and sisters. And I hope that you will continue to subscribe. And in my YouTube channel, please click the subscribe button. And please do like. For the meantime, in the next episode, I will discuss the second point, which is based on the 1 Corinthians chapter 11 verses 1 and 2. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, brothers and sisters, and good evening.